My name is Dustin Huffman, one of the estimators and owners here at Log and Timber Solutions. For those of you who don't know me, I haven't met. Just wanted to make a quick video on caulking on a log home. I just want to briefly go over some of the important aspects of it, some of the things to be aware of, some things we do and don't do, what's standard for us, and it'll help manage expectations, what you should expect of the crew, what they are, why are they not caulking every crack? How are they determining what they're caulking and what they're not? So the first important thing about caulk is the type of caulk you're using. Log homes are different. Every day they're expanding, every night they're contracting. So you need products that are elastic. That is the key component. We use log-specific caulks, almost entirely made by either Sashko or Permachink, that are designed for log homes and for that thermal expansion. So that's extremely important. Second thing is, about coloring. Your eye is used to dark imperfections in wood. The knots are black, the checks are black from a distance, the joints between the logs are extremely dark and black from a distance. So I know a lot of people think they want them to match. I always recommend you go at least a shade darker than your stain. Your eye is used to dark imperfections in wood. Light imperfections stand out. So unless you're really trying to get that contrasting look, intentionally doing your caulking lighter to kind of give it that chinking look, darker is better. Trying to match or lighter usually looks kind of weird, unless you're intentionally going for that contrasting look. So something to be aware of. Another thing is, in our contracts, we do 2 to 3 hours of caulk. Minor caulk touch-up is complimentary. It's included in all our statements of work for any wash and stain we do. That does not mean we are caulking every horizontal joint, every corner. We do that. We offer that as a service. That's a separate line item, and we call that out. And we'll say, hey, we're caulking around every corner, or just 2 corners or 4 corners. We're caulking all horizontal joints on the left gable of the house or the whole house. We do all those sealants, but those are a large level of effort and are called out separately than our free complimentary couple hours of touch up. As our guys are going around washing and staining, if they see some caulk, something that's already been caulked that has split or separated, they're going to touch that up as they're going around briefly. That's included. We don't charge for that, unless there's a line item for caulk every horizontal joint in your house. We're not going to caulk every horizontal joint in your house, obviously. So something to be aware of. So when it gets to what we're caulking, anything 3/8 of, it is subjective, right? 3/8 of an inch or larger. Some people say 1/4 of an inch or larger. Our guys are trained, if you can stick the end of your pinky in that check, right? A check is a crack in the log. It's not the joint between the logs. It is a crack in the log that's occurred from relieving the stresses in that log. Then get the end of their finger in it. They will put back a rod and then we'll run a thin layer of caulk over the top. 3/8 of an inch wet caulk is ideal. A thin layer of caulk over that backer gives it longevity. Slamming a whole check solid of caulk, not good. It shrinks as it dries, and the more caulk you get in there, the more shrinkage, the more it's already pulling away from day one. So more is not better when it comes to caulk. Secondly, why don't you caulk the really small checks? Always err on the side of breathability. I've never seen a log rot because it was too breathable. I've seen rot caused by caulking the really small cracks. How that happens is, one, it's almost like finger painting. You end up smearing. You can't cleanly caulk really tiny 1/16 of an inch cracks. Doesn't look great. 2, we talked about, logs every day they heat up and expand, and every night they get cold and contract. Well, over time, caulking those small little cracks actually will extrude out. Now you've got a lip for water to sit on. At some point, that caulk fails, right? Now you got water run down, hits the lip, and funnels in behind it, and it's trapped. And it's not really breathing. It's just a hairline crack in the caulk, and you get a puddle. You get moisture in there, and it's trapped, and you get rot in behind the caulk in the small stuff. I see that all the time. I err on the side of breathability. And your stains, 1/16 inch, not unheard of for the stains to cover that. And when we're brushing, you're going to get stain back in there that's going to protect that. That's why we don't caulk the really small ones. Now, the exception to that is on the top curvature of the logs. If it's smaller than that, but there's a void in there, right? If you're going to get water's going to run in and you're going to get a puddle inside your logs, that should be caulked as well. You don't want to get an excess amount of moisture puddling up, pulling up inside there. The other part of it is, areas underneath porches and decks, right, that are, closed in, screened in, where water cannot get to. The 3/8 of an inch, they can get their finger, they're still going to caulk those if you want them caulked. The reality is they obviously don't, right? They're not going to get a large amount of moisture in those. Again, that's something you can communicate with the guys. If you don't want them to caulk the big ones on your porches to give it more breathability, let them know. But the big ones, they will, standard is for them to caulk anything over 3/8 of an inch anywhere on the house. I think that's it for what you need to know about caulking. If you got questions on that, feel free to call our office. They can either answer questions about it or direct you to one of us, and give you some technical expertise response to it. All right, thanks.